Captain COVID. How are you?
Boy, at my wit's end. As always, first off, podcast desk, brand new to the edition.
A little bit different setup
Yes.
as everybody's
And
accustomed
the
to.
new camera. We got Trill and Jamie in the house today, in the shack in the back, for Two Doomed Men. You can listen to them at the Last Slice podcast. Congratulations. You guys are going about, 10, 12 episodes in now? More?
We are at not 10, actually. Yeah,
There
10.
we go.
we
There we go.
double Yeah, we did a double this weekend. We did back to back.
Awesome.
Trying to put out as much as possible.
So anyway, as always, we're back. Doom Nation, thank you for waiting the week. It sucked. It's been a long week.
Yeah. Do you want to give a recap of what happened to us? Since we posted it out? Or
Yeah. So basically, my birthday just passed, and I didn't even want to do anything big this year. All I really wanted to do was let's just go get food and then go sit by a fire pit and drink the night away. Nothing.
Cap, it was so simple.
Yeah.
Yeah. we were within Cuomo's guidelines.
Yep.
Yeah, we
I-
actually
We had 10 people at the house. When we went out to the restaurant, we sat at
Separate
tables
Yeah.
with walls in between us. Like, we didn't stay long at the restaurant exposing ourselves. We were out of there before 10, and from there on out, our lives have just completely,
Yep.
off to Bel Air.
Yep. Oh,
We
my
have
God.
been dodging this virus.
Yes.
You know?
It's in its second swing or whatever now. So
Yeah.
well, this might happen more often.
Yeah, we knew that the numbers
Yeah.
were going to spike with the weather dropping and stuff. So.
But we handled it with common sense.
As always.
The person who tested positive, they told us. Well, they didn't test positive right away. They woke up on. We hung out on Saturday, and then on Monday they immediately texted us and were like, I lost smell and taste. So okay, everybody knows what that means. Most likely you have COVID. We all went and got tested.
Yeah.
And we tried our best to not do anything for that week. That was last week. And we got our test results, and now, me and Cap were negative. Jamie is also negative, no COVID detective, so
Nope.
we're good
Trill
to go.
wasn't around, so.
Yeah, he wasn't there. So, life goes back to
Yeah.
normal. There's
Yeah.
no need to stay in a bubble for the rest of our lives
we
now.
we
or-
lock them in the basement.
I realized like it's kind of like a really like scary game of like tag you're it. It's just like remember playing tag you're it with like that one kid who thought like being it was just the most like earth shattering thing.
Yeah.
Like listen, yes, COVID's killed many people and we should never make light of it, but like the majority of the world is going to survive it with its 99.6 survival percent. And
I got stats.
Yeah,
Okay,
there we go.
Boy.
So this is literally from the New York State website,
Yeah.
but we could get into that.
But dude, it's like just like a game of like tag you're at like, okay, now I have to stay home from work for 2 weeks where other people are just shitting lava all day. Like just worried as can be.
Yeah, everybody handles it differently, I guess.
Yeah.
I just try to look at it as take common sense precautions. Like, if you go into a group of random people, you should probably wear a mask, like out at the store or whatnot. When we're all together, I know that if something happens, like it did, you guys will tell me right away, and we'll take the measures that need to be taken after that.
Yeah.
Or if you guys are sick before we hang out, you won't come. You'll be like, I'm sick, I'm not coming today. I don't know if it's COVID, but I just don't feel good.
Yeah.
Probably everybody would do that. I'm not going to stop hanging out with everybody forever because of this.
And the weird thing is the guy who got ended up testing positive and had the symptoms, he only lost like his smell and his taste, like no sore throat. He's like, if I didn't lose these two, he's like, I wouldn't know anything's wrong. And for the past week, he's had it all back. So like the symptoms only lasted in him like 4 or 5 days.
Yeah, there was a second positive test in our group of friends, but that person has absolutely no symptoms whatsoever. They're just, I guess, asymptomatic. Like I was back in May when I had it. I wouldn't have known I even had it had I not gone and did a test.
Yeah.
No. Back when you were working
that's how I got it
every
back then.
day. Like
Right.
they had you in there covering for other people who had it.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
how I got exposed from, because of the pandemic. I was busting my ass trying to cover people going down. Put me at more risk. So, I got it. That was okay. That was okay. But if you
Exactly.
want to hang out with your friends, not okay.
Yeah.
I got a question for you guys. What do you think? Where do we go from here? Like,
Downhill, baby.
What's the best solution to all this?
There's no perfect solution, right?
There isn't.
And I'll point that out because, obviously we're political, right? And with this whole pandemic, people have shit on Trump and the way that the federal government has handled it. It's not like the federal government's in charge of everything.
Mm-hmm.
Trump has handled it, I guess you could say, in the conservative model, right? Europe, Italy, France, Spain, they handled it like with the liberal model of close everything down, pay everybody out. They did a lot better job than we did, right? They closed everything down, but they did pay everybody. They're going through a worse wave right now than we are, and they followed the liberal playbook to the T, and it's still happening to them anyway.
Yep.
So, and where do we go from now? What should we have done? What could we have done? What could you have really done?
My thing is, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
My thing is that you can't take away people's rights.
No.
Especially in America.
that's
Maybe over
that's
there,
what- that's
different
what,
culture, different country.
That's just about what I was going to bring up. At a certain point, like, listen, it's crazy to say you need to revolt against the government for everything they do. And I'm not, like, asking people to start going to, and rioting and stuff, because we watched that with BLM. It didn't do any good. So why would rioting now do us any good or make us any better? But at some point, logic needs to prevail almost, and like the people are gonna have to stand up in some way, shape, or form, and just be like, "Fuck you, no!" Like we're not shutting down. Like just like so in the Hasidic Jewish communities, yes, the sicknesses are up, but the whole community bands together, and they're like, "No, it's religion. Get out of my face. Go." Like whether yes, they're using religion as a crutch, but like. This is working, and they're getting away with whatever they want because the whole community stands together on it.
Yep.
At some point, we're all going to have to stand to Como and be like, we're going to pull you out of office, or are you going to change this? Like, pick one. Like,
It's a crazy time for sure, and the fact that some people follow rules, some people don't follow rules, but it's more of like politicians being like, do it as what I say, not what I do, type of thing. That to me really gets me going, because it's like you're telling people to follow your mandates that you put in order,
and we're gonna get into that.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know you do.
Dude, my thing is, this is what really enriches me about New York State in general, and any Democratic state, because you know me, like I'm more in the middle. Like what makes sense, and that's like truth and factual. That's what I care about. I don't care about like these crazy, outlandish, allegations between parties. No. What's facts are facts, right? And my biggest thing is like small business owners, the mom and pop shops, the people who have busted their ass for 30 years to put food on their table for their family, and you're not even going to give them a fighting chance.
Nope. And on top of it, look at all the regulations and shit like that in New York, and the tax rate, and a very good friend of mine who had a deli down the street from me that I went to since I was a child. He way before 2019, so way before the pandemic, had saved up enough money to buy out a bigger shop right down the street from him, so he wasn't going to lose his clientele. Bro, he, just to get the sidewalk done, had to pay fees and fines to state and city fucking employees, because the state owned the property, but the city had the rights to work on the property, and it's just... So now, once this pandemic's over, eventually one day, there is no fighting chance, because if you look at all the regulations throughout New York, who's going to have the money left to open up, their own business?
Who's going to want to open up?
Yes, that too.
The thing.
Who's
going to want to open up during this whole thing?
I'll tell you who. I said this to my mother last night. We're watching the actual sale of New York go down to the biggest corporation.
There's a consolidation of business.
Yeah.
As we were trying to say to Walmart, Amazon,
Just
CVS, Target.
That's a valid point.
Couldn't you just see Manhattan being just nothing but like CVS, Dunkin' Donuts, like the big name?
It is already, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you go down into the city, it's all about marketing. It's all about corporations. You go to Times Square. What do you see?
Yeah.
Corporate
everywhere.
signs.
And
right?
during the pandemic,
everywhere.
who are the only
you
people
can
that
ask
are
him.
allowed open?
He lived in the city for the longest time. He lived down there, and he can tell you like.
And I worked right by like Times Square and all that, and like literally that's all you see. It's just marketing all over the place.
There's not even an authentic like mom and pop's like pizzeria in that like area. You know what I mean? Like, and that's insane to say for like New York when there's 5 pizzerias on.
That's
every
what
block.
made New York.
Yeah.
When you go down, like we just talked about this on one of our episodes. Our parents grew up in Spanish Harlem. right? And you had Patsy's, you had all these different pizzerias. Those were mom and pops owned. And now look at Patsy's. Patsy's, they got
It's a
different
franchise
restaurants
now.
everywhere,
Yeah.
It's a
right?
franchise.
That's the American dream.
Right.
Yeah.
You working your ass to make a product that you fucking love doing day in, day out. And now these people who are trying to do that now for the future of themselves and their families,
It's never gonna happen.
Don't have a
You're not
chance.
even gonna be able to get a loan to like start a business.
yeah, that's crazy.
Because the city's not gonna have the money.
I mean, your dad as well. Your dad is, I mean, like,
Luckily, my dad he has a butcher shop, so he's an essential business. He won't have to shut down theoretically because he's providing food, which people need to eat, or everyone would die. You know, someone has to make shit in order for us.
but he also
society
has to take it.
continue.
He probably took a little bit of a hit because people don't want to go out as much either.
Yes,
'cause
definitely,
people are
definitely.
scared,
But
you
at
know?
that time, during the first wave of this, there was the PPP thing where they gave you
Yeah,
money
yeah,
to
yeah.
pay your wages and whatnot. That
so
made
that
sense.
actually worked out for him.
Yeah, it did.
Oh, there we go. We got a success story.
Yes, that if it, there was a lot of fraud with that, obviously too, but that made sense. If you're an essential business and you've been destroyed by this because we're telling people to stay home and not go do anything, the government should replace your wage. I guess you could say. Economists want to argue, is that right or wrong? You can't on one hand tell us to stay home, don't do anything, don't go to work, you can't make any money, and then all right, good luck.
Yeah.
You're on your own.
Yeah.
That makes no sense. Then
you-
it's either one or the other. You can't do both.
You give out a check for $1,200.
That was
right?
pathetic.
How long ago was that?
Oh man.
That was back in
Yeah.
April.
Okay.
And the best was like the one I forget who said he's like, yeah, this should last you like 10 weeks.
Yeah, I think that was Moscow Mitch
Not
said
in
that.
New
Yeah.
York.
Oh yeah.
Well, the people, to be fair, people like Mitch McConnell, they live in an alternate
Yeah.
reality. They don't know what it's like to be a normal, average American
He
anymore, having
buys,
to work
he
for a
buys his
living.
election. I mean, what is he?
He's 1,200 in his sock drawer, like right now.
Yeah, he's a representative of Kentucky, if I'm not mistaken, or Kansas. Or
He's
something like
just
Kentucky, right?
he's a Senate majority leader.
Yeah, he's a Senate majority leader, but his base is Kentucky,
Yes,
right? That's
yeah,
his
yeah,
constituency. So like, my thing is like, I mean, there people. Everybody lives in an alternate universe in politics. All
Yeah,
politicians
yeah.
across the board. You know what I mean? Like these people think a certain way. I mean, it's like more of the do what I say, not what I
Yeah,
do type of thing.
Yeah.
That's what's bothering me the most.
Me too. Me too.
Oh,
If you
yeah.
could have made something where this is a country of law and order, right? This is what we stand for.
Not
all right,
anymore.
all right, Trump.
Not anymore, because now the rules are being broken right in front
Mm-hmm.
of our face. You'll probably agree with this more than anything. The fact that people are sitting by and letting these things happen
Thank you.
is
Thank
the
you.
most
I am-
ridiculous thing that bothers me the most right
Yep.
now. Is that back in the day, we had a whole revolution
Mm-hmm.
about tyrannical government.
Yep.
People, infringing on their rights. And
Dude.
we have people that just like, I'm sorry, my mom, I'm sorry, I'm going to shout you out, who believes everything Cuomo says.
She's canceling Thanksgiving.
No,
Yeah,
God forbid that happens. You know?
because Thanksgiving's been done in my
Yeah.
house. It's over.
Oh,
Yeah.
It's over. So
But she
Thank you
she
for buying into
believes,
the fear.
She believes everything that Cuomo's saying. She loves the press briefings. She's saying, he's not having anybody over.
he has
he
more.
bullshit.
He has more servants in his mansion than you're allowed to have in your house.
He was
Get
like,
outta here.
supposedly he put on an act like, oh, Mom, we're not going to do this year, this and that, blah, blah, blah.
It's all a lot.
Yesterday, New York Times actually came out an
Oh
article
boy, here we go. Jamie came prepared with a litany of notes,
Good.
as I like to say. Good, because we didn't prepare
from
shit,
the
so
New
we
York
just-
Times
we just
itself
have rage.
yesterday. From yesterday. Cuomo invited his mother for Thanksgiving.
I was
Okay.
going to say just my mother. Yeah, forget about her posse and her handlers.
You get it goes into the whole do what I say, not what
Yeah.
I do, right? And the two daughters, he invited them over for Thanksgiving.
What about his brother?
Everybody's invited.
His brother's here in New York, right?
Oh,
Yeah,
absolutely.
it's CNN, yeah.
In Long Island,
Oh,
in the Hamptons, with a big mansion.
How do you think CNN is going to get the new big story on Trump if Cuomo doesn't give it to his brother during Thanksgiving?
No.
Because who's ever going to question what two brothers fucking get to talk about behind closed doors?
Yeah, I was talking to somebody about this on Sunday. The fact that Chris Cuomo works for CNN and obviously Andrew works as a governor, they should not be allowed. Well, he should not be allowed to go on Chris's show because that's
No.
a legitimate conflict of interest,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Dude,
You're-
their
you're the-
entire relationship
Right.
now is a conflict.
You're the news guy, so you're supposed to report us the news. You're supposed to hold our politicians accountable.
Yeah.
But that's your brother. You're not going to be as fair as
Never.
him as any
Never.
other random person. Well, and you guys could talk about it before. What do you want to do? What do you want to talk about? Okay, I'm gonna make sure I play up
But
this
you don't think-
angle of the
but
story
you
for you
don't-
because you're my brother. I'm trying to help you.
You don't think if Trump was going to pass some crazy executive order, right? We didn't hear about it first. We're obviously not going to hear about it first. But the people in the White House that report back to Andrew Cuomo, he's going to get it hours, days, maybe weeks about this executive order
Yeah.
before we do. And then, Chris, my baby brother, I miss you. Come over for a drink tonight. Here's the email. Here, look at this. Just blast Trump. It's a
They can form a strategy of how
Yes,
to best
exactly.
run with this
now
story.
CNN could give it if they're all working together, just
Yeah.
give it out to everyone else, and now it's a full blown shit
This
show.
is what I said about Trump when people attack Trump and being like, "This is all your fault. This is everything that's going on is all your fault." It's not his fault. That's number one. Number two, he actually tried to shut down traveling
Yeah.
from China,
Dude, this is
but
this
he
is
got
an
attacked for
ongoing
saying
topic.
that, "Oh, you're xenophobic." This is not. But he literally did it in January,
Yeah.
February.
Doesn't matter. We live in an
Do you
alternate
know
universe.
they
now where
wanted
reality
him
don't
to
matter.
realize this?
Is that a fact though?
Yes,
Yes,
it is.
a fact.
So
yes.
why is that not? Why are
Thank
we
you.
not saying that?
Yeah.
Because anything. Listen, I hate having to always defend him, right? Because I don't like him, right? But anything
always
he
been
When are you
does,
going to accept that he was just right?
right? I'm not.
When you're right, you're right. When you're wrong, you're
Yeah,
wrong.
in terms of this situation, he was right in the beginning, and at the time they were saying he was wrong and he was being this or he was being that. But then, later on, no, he didn't do enough. He didn't do this. Well, if Nancy Pelosi was in charge, she would have done even less than he did, right? Because she was saying, "Don't be xenophobic."
They asked-
Another one, do what I say, not what I
Yes.
do. You go to San Francisco,
Get your
you
hair
go in,
done.
you get your hair done,
Yeah.
but you tell other salons you have to stay
Gotta be
close.
close.
And then, do you guys realize something that that the Speaker of the House, the third most powerful individual in probably the world, but we'll just keep it to America, third most powerful individual in America, sued a small business.
Did she really actually sue them?
She sued
I
them?
don't know what happened, but you could Google it. I don't know if the lawsuit went through, but she admitted that she's going to, since they duped her into this, that she was
That
going
they
to
set
file a
her up.
lawsuit.
That
Yeah,
they
that
set
they
her
set
up.
her
Yeah,
up.
that too, yeah.
Yeah, so that she was going to sue them for that.
And then
You
you
are-
have
Nobody has an issue. Nobody has an issue with the
Cap. We're
the
on
Speaker
same
of the
level, bro.
House.
No.
The Speaker of the House is personally destroying a small business. Aren't you in favor of small business? Like,
Yeah.
I don't.
We had a
I don't see.
conversation.
I don't see anything about her actually formally filing a lawsuit.
I don't know if anything ever went through, but I know she said it.
Me and him had a conversation last week. We were texting with each other, and I just went off on the whole airline industry. And Nancy Pelosi went up to
my
the
God.
airline industry and was like, "We're going to give you a shit ton of money, but you need to promise us that you're not going to lay anyone off." And the airline industry said, "We can do." Sat there, we can do that for you, no problem. It lasted 4 fucking months. And then they started talking about laying off 35,000 workers.
That's insane.
Okay, they were losing $20 to $40 million a day
So,
on empty
yeah.
flights.
I gotta say though, like the one thing I like, I know the airline industry is close to you and shit like that, but like, and I don't want people to lose their jobs, but if the airline industries went under, new ones would pop
Right.
up instantly
That's
and just
capitalism.
hire
Yeah.
back those
That's
people.
capitalism.
I
Like,
said, there's nothing greater that if the airline industry went
Yeah.
down.
To have a
because
new
I'm not
one?
personally in
Yeah.
the airline industry, but they are the worst culprits.
Oh, yeah.
If they
Let 'em.
went under, I would be smiling
trust
ear to
me-
ear.
Trust me, listen, if there was 10 major players in the airline industry and the airline industry went over, when the new ones pop back up, you're probably going to see like 6 or 7 of the same like big time players.
You would think so,
still.
right? But
Right.
you would think so.
Yeah.
And the same thing would have happened in 2008 when we bailed out Wall Street. It's
The supply and demand.
capitalism.
Still
Yeah.
Capitalism is about if you go down under, another one arises. And what we
yeah.
keep doing in this country all the time is if something goes down, we say it's too big to fail. Well, fuck it, let it fail
Yeah.
because the leadership was shit. And we're paying these people this fucking billions of dollars for them to survive. It's them
I
their
don't
time to
even-
fucking die. And
Let me-
nothing
can I
can
I don't
come
even
back
think there'd
up.
be a huge turnaround rate either, to be honest.
No, they wouldn't.
Yeah.
They wouldn't. Let me make a point here about AOC. This is something she said that was really wise. I don't know if she was the one who originally came up with this quote, but she did say it. She said, "And the problem in America is that too often there's socialism for the rich and rugged capitalism for the poor."
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So there was socialism for the rich, for the airline industries. You guys are hurting. We're going to give you money to bail you out because you have empty flights. And for the poor, here's $1,200. Enjoy.
Yeah.
And
It
everybody's
actually
losing their
makes
job.
sense, yeah. Because if we'll go to pizzerias, man, because we've all worked for them, we've all been to them. Like, no matter how good your pizzeria is, you start charging too much or whatever, people stop going to you,
Done.
and no one's going to bail you out.
I've seen it personally.
And
50
this-
cents? I'm
yeah.
not paying 50 cents.
Yeah.
And they get like heated.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just 50
and,
cents.
and dude, no joke. And the same storefront will just go through different pizzerias, bro. Like it's like a good spot for like it's raw, rugged capitalism where there's a demand, but if you fail, go fuck yourself.
How do we change that though? Do you guys? I would like to hear like your
We
thought on
we
that.
don't
How
we
can-
expand on
How can, it really is true. It that is true. But how do we change this whole cronyism, nepotism in this country where it's crony capitalism? This is not capitalism.
You just answered your own question. You do away with the corporate lobbyists. If you could work, if you are a
It's
representative
deeper
of
than
Walmart,
that, dude.
but
It's
but
deeper
think-
than that because
but
you
this
have
is-
politicians also taking money.
I understand that, but this is how you got to understand. In some deep dark room, Joe Biden is sponsored by Home Depot or some shit. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
not only do other countries buy seats in our Senate and House and even the White House, corporations buy seats in the same people. Wouldn't you love to be? Let's say you're a dirty politician. You're making the the $300,000 a year, whatever it is,
Would it be a podcast episode with Captain if you didn't
without
do that?
hit it. Yeah, and
Move your wire. I think your wire is buzzing. There you go.
Yep. And then now, like China wants to buy your seat in the Senate, you're getting paid X millions of dollars a year on the down low. Now Disney wants you to pay, to lobby for these laws. Now you're getting paid $5 million a year.
They're
Now
pulling
Home
strings.
Depot, because they have lobbyists in there, and this is how they get the meeting. And in that private room, they're like, "I represent Disney. You want $500 million? Let's do this. No problem."
That's the problem, right? But your question is, how do you fix that, right?
Because
Or how do
because
you-
because the issue is it's more than the corporations itself. Because with the lobbyists, they're going to politicians. So
Right.
now the root is going. It's everything's so intertwined.
Yes.
How do you unravel it when it's so deep?
Okay. The first step is that the masses, people, have to actually understand that that's the problem, which we do, right? Because we talk about these type of things all the time. We do a podcast, try to point shit like that out.
But a lot of people
But
are
a lot
not
of people
critical
don't.
thinkers.
A lot of people
Yeah.
are not critical thinkers. A lot
because
of
they will
people-
fight you over their love
and
for
nail.
Nike.
Yes.
Yep.
Yep. Nike
Brand
could never
loyalty.
do anything and punch you in the face and throw a brick at your head.
People are distracted by football and their lives and this and that. They don't really pay much attention to exactly what's going on, but they complain that their lives are fucked up and the place has to be better. If you think there's something wrong with your life and things could be better in America, then you need to start paying attention to what the root of the problem is, which is exactly what you just said, lobbyists and whatnot. And then once you know that's the problem, you need to start holding your leaders accountable. How do you do that? By voting them the fuck out, right? So Nancy Pelosi, goodbye. Donald Trump, sorry to say, goodbye. Joe Biden, goodbye. Schumer, goodbye. You need to start voting for people who are actually going to carry out or serve the public, right? And then if those people get corrupted and they don't, then you vote them out. And you just keep voting people out until eventually the people running for office realize we have to actually start serving the interests of the public or we're not going to win re-election. That's the only way that...
So-
that or you have to start killing everybody. Like in France. Slicey boys,
French
as
people
they say.
when they riot
Yeah.
or they revolution.
I'm not saying
are
to do that.
absolutely wild. First, they would fucking chop people's heads off, and then they were taking cow manure and remember that they were spraying.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
the
they haven't
politicians-
cut anybody's heads off
No, no,
recently.
not
That
recently,
was
but I'm
the
saying
French Revolution.
the-
But I know they
French
fucking
Revolution.
they throwing the shit at that one's house.
They
right?
had like a wood chipper go with horse shit or cow shit,
Yeah.
and they were
They were
going
spraying it.
politician fucking like
the
political
mayor's house.
chaos.
That's what we need to do to Como.
Yeah, but
That's
That's
their
what we need to
culture.
do to
That's their
Como.
culture.
Yeah.
Their culture in France is like they protest violently, not necessarily always violently, but like strongly.
this is what we want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they get what they want because they're in the streets about it.
Yeah.
That's another thing you could do. You could protest. Obviously, don't burn down private people's businesses that don't have anything to do with it.
that,
But you could show up in front of Albany and be like, dude,
Hey, we're pissed.
what the fuck?
Yeah.
You can't be doing this.
Yeah.
You
Dude,
could get a wood
when-
chipper and spray shit on Cuomo's thing. It's harmless, but it makes a statement.
But you
know?
also gotta think too now. Like we've been in this for a full year now. COVID had a birthday. You know what I mean? Like
Oh yeah.
Not yet. We haven't reached that yet. But well, COVID has had his birthday. But
Yeah.
Like you
Not-
say,
I
wouldn't say
we're
we're in a
level.
full
We're
year of-
level.
We're at
12.
level 11 right now.
It's 11 right now. We're gonna go to
We're
12.
almost at level 12. When so this is something from another podcast. Like you also got to like look into like your own crew and like ask like when is it like our time to do something. Like small business in New York is just getting destroyed constantly now. When does small business band together and show up in Como's front lawn with a
The
guillotine
only way
and
we're
shit
gonna
and
change.
just you know
That's
what I
the
mean?
only way things will change. You know
But
what I mean?
what do we got here?
Oh.
Yeah,
Pizza delivery.
it couldn't be the last slice without a couple of slices. So make some room here.
Oh, wow.
We
We've
got-
been
we got a-
begging you guys to get pizza on your show.
Did you take your cut?
I restarted doing it.
You did? Very nice.
Oh, thank you so much. This is awesome. Oh, wow. All right. I'll put this
Thank you,
in there.
Sam.
You want to put it in the middle?
Yeah, let's put it in the middle. Let's make some space here. Let's move this over unless you guys want to eat cigarettes.
Yeah, let's get this on camera. Where we go?
But
There you go. It's
my
from-
my
so from-
thing is,
Go ahead, go ahead.
because I watch your stuff on Instagram, all the things that you post, and I don't know who posted the Tucker Carlson bit
I think that was
where it was you. It was you. It was your podcast.
When you're done with this, I want to talk a little bit about our Instagram and
So-
the fights I've been having on there lately. Let's go ahead.
Ding,
We
ding,
diving
ding.
in or
Let's get
what?
some pizza.
Um,
Let's get some pizza. Dive in, boys. Go ahead. Help yourselves.
So with the
Fuck, let's
whole
make a
with the
mess of our nice
whole
little table.
the voting thing, right? He made a good point. He was saying about 90% of Americans think that voting elections is rigged. Right? We got to change that too.
Yeah.
Something that because I think it's rigged. I don't know if you think. Do you think it's rigged?
There's napkins over there if you guys want 'em on the thing.
I don't know. It could be. I feel
Do you
like
think? But honestly, do you think that it could potentially be
100%
something
rigged.
underneath
Well, yeah,
that's just like
look at
it's
Al
just a
Gore and
show?
George
But
Listen, look, I don't know if Trump's election is going to be overturned, but this Dominion shit, look into it. Just start going on Bing, on the news network and stuff like that. Don't go to your normal news outlets and start looking up what they have been finding on Dominion. I don't know how much I could trust it because I don't know how to run an election. You know what I mean? Like other than like raise your hand, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, you win. Like I don't know how a presidential election like this goes, but they had machines counting American votes in Frankfurt, Germany, and Barcelona. That's foreign interference, as far as I'm concerned.
Is that true though? I don't know.
See,
I read that wasn't true.
How do I know it's true? That's the problem because I know nothing about. But there is just countless stories of irregularities and like these anomalies,
Irregularities.
and weird shit going on, whatever going on in this Dominion system, flipping votes. It's all over the place.
And who's that lady that like brought that up or whatever that was like exposing it?
Sidney Powell?
Yep.
The one
Sidney-
that Trump fired yesterday? or whatever?
He didn't fire her; she was never part of his team.
Yeah, she was. She was in the. I don't get that whole thing. She
commented that
She was in the press conference with Giuliani and all the other lawyers. Now she's not part of the team anymore.
she's just been working with them. I don't think she's ever been hired
Listen,
by him. And apparently she's a military lawyer too.
There's a lot of fuckery that went on, definitely, right? At the same time, I think Trump's being a little bit ridiculous. Also, I don't know, right? I don't know exactly. I don't have some magic fucking, finger on the pulse of exactly what's going on, but there definitely was some fraud. But was it enough to overturn the entire result of the election? I don't know. Probably not, in my opinion, right? Did these Dominion things sound, suspicious? Yeah, they do. But is it? I mean, it should be looked
Yes.
into, as we have said. But that's kind of what they've been doing, and they haven't come out with any evidence. And I know Trump people are going to say,
that's
it's
from
got
a
to go
Trump
down
person.
in court.
Yeah.
But then why did he sign yesterday? He signed the official document, which I told you about in a recent episode, like the transition document. The writing's on the wall
Because they were going to kill that woman. But listen, as a Trump person, I said this before it came out to you. I said Giuliani and Sidney Powell and all of them got up there and they have evidence. But where's the evidence? Let's you know what I mean? Like, let's knock down a domino. Like, come on.
he made a good point about. Excuse me. He made a good point about. Someone did a affidavit, filled out an affidavit. Saying
There's
that
multiple
there
affidavits.
was
yeah.
there was some sketch stuff that was happening, and that we're not going to believe that. We're not going to. You have to testify in court. Like that's.
Wait, who's
like-
saying that they're not going to believe that?
Rudy Giuliani said that there was an affidavit that was filled out by a voting worker.
There's a lot of affidavits. Yeah.
But they were saying
Yeah,
that
but that's his affidavit. He believes it. He's saying we can't just not believe this.
I agree.
But it's also an affidavit, though.
Yeah.
You have to testify in court, or else you're lying. It's perjury.
Actually, I don't know if it was an affidavit. I mean, maybe it was, but I remember them saying they have notarized affidavits, right? So I can literally like have been working at a polling place and I've seen some weird shit go on, and now I want to put what I saw to paper and then have it notarized by like a notary public, meaning like I'm swearing this under oath essentially, because when you I am a notary, right? So when you do a notary for someone, they have to swear and attest that everything they're telling you is true, and then you're literally stamping it. It's like official. So there's people that put in their their word on the line. They're not just doing it for no reason. They're putting their word on the line.
But none of that has like been produced yet. So if they're all these who's getting arrested then? Like,
But they've shown that has happened. Which is interesting, right? Because the Democrats are all saying there's no fraud. There's no evidence of any fraud whatsoever. This is the most secure and safe election ever. There's no fraud. Wrap it up. Move along. Joe Biden's the president. This, that, whatever. They're trying to just like rush the process along.
so once he takes office, they just sweep this all under the rug.
Why? If you are one of these Democrat people, some of my friends are, and they're behaving this, you want the process to play out and there to be 100% proven evidence that Trump is full of shit and he's trying to steal the election and all this stuff. Let the process play out. The fact that you're trying to wrap it up is suspicious.
Yeah.
They shoot themselves in the foot more than they don't. Like, it's ridiculous.
And
all
what
the time.
the hypocrisy of all of
Yeah.
this is in 2008, I believe it was, Al Gore versus George Bush.
No.
No, that
That
was
was
2000.
That was 2000. Wow, 8 years old.
Obama won in 2000.
That's right. Yeah. 2000, George Bush and Al Gore, they had a recount, and the Democrats were pissed off because, how can you do this? Because they stopped the votes down in Florida. Oh, how can you do this? Al Gore actually won. And it's just like if it's not your candidate, you know what I mean? It's all about sides, right? It's all about picking sides, which is why I'm so strong. I'm about like picking sides.
Dude,
Like,
yeah.
I just
Listen,
what's best for my country, that's what the fuck I want.
Yep.
And I wish all of us were like that. I wish all Americans were like,
that's the problem.
hey, the best, whoever the American people, like whoever the American citizens voted for, that's
Dude,
it.
if we could band together, if small business could band together in New York, you would see changes. If you know what I mean, like if all small business got together and was just like, no, nobody closed down.
Yeah,
no one pays a single fine. Like
That's what they have to do, because marching on the Capitol for a small business is not going to do anything. They have to do civil disobedience, like I've said, like Gandhi did.
with the
not-
sheriff's department in L.A.
We're not going to close. We're not going to. We're not going to. We're going to allow people to come dine in here if they want. We're going to take common sense precautions. Yes,
That must be.
but you just can't. You just have to like ignore it, and then you're going to need help from the police department, etc., to not enforce the rules. Come in there with like a SWAT team and arrest you for not following Cuomo's orders.
But that must be like an insane kick in the nuts for like the governor of L.A. And then like every sheriff's department's like, nah, fuck you. Like we're not helping you. Nope.
Going on L.A. and stuff like that with all the sheriff department and stuff like that.
I love it.
Remember a couple of years
I
ago?
love it.
Remember a couple of years ago, Egypt was going through their own thing.
Their own. They had a
revolution.
real bad election not too long ago.
If I'm not mistaken, their government actually sent out military personnel to
There
the
was
streets.
tanks in the streets. Yeah.
They did.
They
China
all
just did that.
walked away. All military personnel walked away
Yeah.
because they said we're going to be firing on our own people, and that's wrong.
I remember that.
Yeah.
and they literally left their tanks in the middle of the
At the end of the
street.
day, what like
That's the most perfect
government
form-
is just an idea, right?
all
The
it
only
is.
way it gets held up is by guys with guns.
Yep.
That's how you simple as you break it down to, right? Who has the power? The people who control the guys with guns. If all the guys with guns, if everybody in the military in America decides we're going to become a communist dictatorship, we're going to become a communist dictatorship.
Yeah.
Right? Because they're going to have pointing our guns at us, and you're not going to be able to do anything.
Yeah.
And shocking that the
I'm just saying,
the,
like theoretically.
the party that's rushing to the election is the one that wants to do away with guns.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm really interested about this whole Instagram thing that you got. going
I didn't
on.
even know this was
because I didn't even know.
happening, really.
Yeah, I didn't even know what. I don't know what's
Well,
going on, and I'm actually like.
I know the
curious.
battles of Facebook.
Let me just say that
boy.
people.
Oh, you guys are fighting battles?
No, I mean I fight, but that's on a personal level, not on our
right.
podcast
Oh,
page.
right,
and stuff.
right,
So
right,
you know, people follow our Instagram page, and let me be clear: our Instagram page. First of all, our podcast is Chris is more of the conservative. I'm more of the liberal, and we're here. We're friends. We can still talk to each other. We can still have conversations. We don't
Which
hate
I
each
always
other.
say is the best
Yeah.
thing ever. Dude.
So the
There's
podcast
going to be opposing views.
yes,
Nope.
the podcast
and be friends at the end. What?
Shocking.
right. The Instagram should reflect that, which for the most part it does.
100%.
Yeah.
Sometimes Chris will post something like he did today of the Democrats
Yeah,
killing small business, and sometimes I'll post something that is critical of Trump, and sometimes I'll post something that defends Trump and whatnot. Right? People are so polarized that they'll message us and be like, fuck you guys, or this, that, because like we went against their one view. Or people will be like, this is, well, what about Trump? When I post something that's critical of Joe Biden, people will be like, well, what about Trump? He did this and did that. What do you mean?
Let me
Biden's
get
going to be
it.
the president. So we should just ignore now the fact that, like me you're going to say this, right? Like me and you like Bernie Sanders, and I want to hold Biden's feet to the fire on like these progressive initiatives that he's trying to say he's going to do. So I've been trying to like theme a lot of our posts, pointing out that he's putting all warmongers in his cabinet. He's putting all corporatists. Basically, like Bernie and them are losing their battle to like push him further
He's
left.
also putting in a lot of people from the Obama administration.
So everyone
Well,
who's
it's basically the swamp is back.
yeah.
Yeah.
And everyone who's super liberal and voted for Joe because they think he's going to be the champion of social justice and liberalism and Trump is a bad guy, he's not. He's just putting back in place the same fucking guys who were in charge before.
Yep.
So
And because I'm pointing that out, you want to get mad at us because what about Trump? He was worse. Trump's not going to be the president for the next 4 years. So now what? For the next 4 years, this is what's going to happen. For the next 4 years, anything Joe Biden does is going to be infallible. And because people are only going to say, well, what about Trump? He was worse. No, this is your president now. So this is the guy me and him are going to be criticizing every day or talking about every day. Trump's gone. He's out. Right? It's over with.
Won't
so
be
I don't want to
defending him
hear.
anymore.
I don't want to. There's going to be. The media especially is going to push this. Anything Biden does is going to be better just because he's not Trump.
Yeah, to round this all out with, so you showed me, we might have posted about it, the video on the Joe Rogan podcast where, I forget who was talking about
Me
how,
and you talked about this too. It was
Yeah.
Dave Smith, right?
where he was like, see, corporations love these microaggression movements and shit, right? Where, okay, we'll send all the CEOs to a weekend
Diversity
class,
training.
a diversity class, and we'll put the Black Lives Matter, flag up on the top of our building, and we'll make our Instagram page, profile picture a rainbow, and there'll be no microaggressions, and everybody loves it. And Joe Biden did that by picking up Kamala Harris.
Right.
And now, when we get to the brass tacks of things, but I gave you Kamala. So I'm just going to put all my people in here.
Yeah.
But
Right. I'm going to put all corporatists,
I'm not
warmongers
racist.
in charge.
I picked Kamala, so it doesn't matter who I did. And it's the
And
exact
people are going to. The thing is, people fall for that shit, hook,
Yes,
line, and sinker.
every time.
The problem in America, I've said it a million times. It's not necessarily a social justice issue we have here. It's a class issue, and especially with COVID, it's more of an attack on the classes of America, right? And they're masquerading it as a social justice issue. The fact that you have a small business and you can't stay open, but Walmart can stay open. They're like we were saying before, they're consolidating business behind these huge corporations. And what happens if all these huge corporations end up being like you can only go 5 places to get anything: TV, food, video games, whatever, pizza. You can only go to 5 corporations for that. They're going to pay everybody like $1 an hour. They're going to charge you $1 million for a slice of pizza. They're going to have control of everything. And that's exactly what corporations want. They want to be the government. They want to be in control of everything. They want all of the power behind everything. And that has historically happened in this country, right? We had the podcast months and months ago, which I keep mentioning and keep bringing up, the book, A People's History of the United States. It's literally proven in the history, right, that the government and business has always tried to pit people against each other. Native Americans and the slaves. And Native Americans, slaves, and poor white people back then, holy shit, they were terrified of the 3 of them coming together to try and like
because they were so
usurp
greatly
the system.
outnumbered.
You know what I mean? They're always trying to pit people against each other because it's easy to get your class the way, like it's easy to maintain the status quo if people are distracted by you're a racist, or no, you're a racist, no, you're a racist. Well, we're gonna good. I'm gonna pay you guys all $5 an hour.
Yeah,
you're all too busy to fight back against that. You know what I'm trying to say?
So with the whole with the corporatism and stuff like that, right? So anytime, so like with this whole Hunter Biden incident that happened, right? With him, with the whatever the stories is, whatever, him Donald Trump Jr., all the same people. They're using political figures like their parents to make a profit and a lot of money,
yeah.
right?
Well, I think
And that's
Donald
that's-
Trump Jr. was making it off of
Now-
Trump's business.
Yeah.
Now, you might take some flack from this, but also Obama, after he was president of the United States, started going around to all these banks,
speaking events.
speaking and
engagements,
getting
yeah.
fucking a
Netflix.
lot of money for them, right? So today, because this is Andrew Cuomo Day, I looked up his net worth, right?
Who's this?
Andrew
It's good.
Cuomo.
I've never thought about what his net worth.
Okay.
Net worth is
Oh,
good.
boy.
So he makes an annual, salary-wise, an annual $200,000 a year.
Mm.
It's a lot of money. And he also was having a $25,000 increase in January.
Right. I posted about
Yeah.
that. On
I think he gave
Instagram,
it back, though.
He denied it.
Yeah,
Okay.
because people found
That's
out.
cool, right? He's
Yeah.
it's a nice guy. He's a
Yeah.
nice guy. He denied
$25,000,
$25,000.
yeah.
Hey, this is bad, right?
Hey,
How the fuck is his net worth at $5 million a year?
A year. Okay, so
what is the government? What is the governor's pay?
$200,000 a year.
and he makes
How are you?
500 million.
How
5
is your
million a
net
year.
worth $5 million?
How many years has Cuomo been governor for? Like on just round guess. You don't have to know exactly.
I mean,
Wait,
10
you
years,
said it's
maybe?
5 million a year.
no,
no,
his
no,
net
five,
worth
net
is
I'm
5
sorry.
million.
Net worth
Yeah.
is 5
Right,
million.
Wow,
so
he's
let's
way
say-
more broke than I thought.
Let's say that's still a lot. Of
I
money.
thought the same way too, but it's still a lot
Yeah.
of money for a politician who's serving the people
Right.
at $200,000.
Let's literally hash it out. Right, he makes $200,000 a year. He's been governor for I don't know 10 years now. Maybe that's
Yeah, but
too.
that
Maybe
was-
that's
Something
much.
like that.
Right. So 10 times 2, right? That'd be $2 million if he spent not one single dollar.
Yeah.
So yeah, how does he have $5 million?
But that's
makes
this
no
is low level. This is the governor.
Yeah.
Okay, you have Nancy Pelosi.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's making
Well, they-
$25 million a year.
Yeah,
Oh, I
but
mean, not a
look
year.
into-
25 net worth, $25 million.
Just look into what her husband does. He's basically the Donald Trump of California. He's like a huge real estate mogul in California. So like,
I'm sure there's no corruption behind that.
Yeah.
Here's my question to you guys. Why do we? And this is going to go to like the campaign finance reform. But why is it that our leaders are like super rich?
yeah,
Right?
Yeah,
There's-
only
you
Only-
have no
they're only
chance.
super rich, basically.
You have no chance to run
'Cause-
if you like Bernie. I mean, Bernie was getting his campaign financed by
But normal
regular
people,
Joe
right.
Schmo like
Yeah,
us.
right,
like we would give them money and stuff.
Right, the average donation was
'Cause
very low.
I've
right.
said it. We are watching states and this country physically be bought and sold in front of us.
Yeah.
And then look, if you
It's
want
just not a smooth transaction
let me
anymore.
bring it back to AOC again, right? If you want to criticize AOC, go ahead, that's your right. But at the same time, she's kind of just a normal person that happened to get
Yeah.
into government. The main criticism of her from like Ted Cruz and Mitch McConnell, she's a bartender. She's a bartender. What does she know? Yeah, she's a normal person that got
And
in.
you know why-
You could disagree with
Yeah.
her on policy and whatnot as much as you want. That is your right. But the fact that they so arrogantly will be like, well, you're a bartender. I want more bartenders to be in government, right? I want more idiots like us to be in. We don't know everything.
I disagree
but
with
it-
a lot of things she says.
it should
but
be normal
I'm going to tell you
people.
this much: I respect her because she's
She's
the
a
American
bartender,
dream.
yeah.
She's the American
Yeah.
dream. She came from the Bronx, Parkchester, making minimal wage,
Right.
and now she's in the fucking capital of
Yeah.
the United States of America.
Right.
That's the American.
That's just
dream.
one example. I've
Okay.
said it before. Farmer fucking Joe
It's just
from Idaho,
unfortunate it's her.
who's worked on the farm. That's fine. You could
I know,
disagree with
I
her,
know,
but
yeah.
I can't stand the she's a bartender thing. Like
Because
we
it
need
makes
more
it-
working class
because
people.
it makes it an elitist thing
Yes,
where like
yes.
only like little Steven from the country club whose
Yep.
parents
Right.
run the
Yeah.
who
But
run
they
the math
rather
program
have-
at Yale.
They rather have the lawyers
Yeah.
in office because
Right.
what do lawyers do?
They're elitists.
Play with words.
Yeah.
Yep.
They play with words. That's all they do is play with words.
Yep.
They play with words to try to make themselves better or to, it's all prosecuting and defending. They just jumble up all these words to make themselves look better.
Right.
And that's all they do is they spew bullshit.
Yeah.
That's all it is.
Yeah.
That's why they love the social justice stuff
Yep.
because that doesn't actually accomplish anything. That just
Yeah.
divides people, makes
Yep.
people want to go out and riot. But at the end of the day, there's no minimum wage increase. There's no fixing of the roads.
And
You
you
know what I
think they
mean?
care
Like
about
there's
that?
just
Yeah.
They flew a Black Lives Matter flag and now
Yeah.
everything's solved. We're cool now.
right.
We're cool now.
That's what I say about De Blasio. He's just painting rainbows.
Yeah.
That's not going to actually fix
And then you have
anything.
the corporations that jump on that
Yeah.
and make money off of that
Yeah.
too and stuff like that. So it's like kind of crazy.
Yeah, we played when everything was in like the height of what was in like in June after George Floyd got killed. I remember even on Call of Duty, like I went on there and they put in the
Yes.
bottom right Black Lives Matter.
Yeah.
Are you sure? You sure?
Yeah,
Mhm.
swear to God,
All the video games
on the
Yeah.
main menu where your
Really?
soldiers are like walking in Warzone, it was on the bottom right.
Yeah,
Black
I remember.
Lives Matter.
I remember there was a cut screen that came up.
Yeah.
And like
They
some
had
like
the
little Black
message.
Lives. Yeah, like a
Yeah.
Black Lives
That's
Matter
just
message.
fucking
and then, like,
pandering. Like,
yeah.
I agree with the statement, but that's just pandering. What the fuck?
Nah,
How,
how
about
how
this
is
one?
that going to help anybody
Yeah.
putting
The
that
same
there?
thing you said about, like, you know, God forbid you go against Nike if you're a Nike wearer and stuff like that, and you're talking about all that, you know. But what you forgot to mention was they did all that stuff, and there's not one person of color sitting in their board.
No, well, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So
But-
who's full of shit?
Yeah, listen, it's
It's
all
enough
they
for
have
them
to
to be like, oh, we'll do all this.
Listen.
Black Lives Matter.
That's what Joe Biden
But
did.
you don't promote
I-
anybody in your fucking company.
That's what Joe Biden did. I picked Kamala Harris.
That's all it is.
Okay.
You guys should love me.
Yeah, let me.
This is all I did. I did all this for you.
I didn't pick someone on race or sex, but I picked this black woman for you.
It's like Roman. It's like
Yeah.
Roman emperors back in the day. But you don't see what I did for you.
Meanwhile, that was the
my
last time
hand.
actually. That was the last time we all got together. Was right after Kamala got
Yeah.
picked.
Yeah.
And we talked about how. Okay, yes, you picked a black woman who's now going to be the vice president, but she had a terrible record on social justice issues
Yep.
and whatnot. Prosecuted unproportionately black people in California during her
Yep.
time.
That's right. I was on here. I was on your episode when she
it was
got
vice
nominated.
president.
Yeah,
right.
yeah, yeah.
And that is exactly what Joe Biden is
Because-
doing right now. So I saw a tweet and it's like, wow, it's like Joe Biden's cabinet so far is the most diverse ethnically cabinet of all time. I think I said this before. It's literally all corporatist people
Yep.
who are war hawks. We're going to be in a war with Joe Biden. I'm just telling you guys right now. Mark it down. We're going to go back and play this clip again. We're going to get into some sort of war in the next couple of years because all the people who are part of the military-industrial complex and whatnot, they might be black people, they might be brown people, they might be white people, but they're still those type of people that are just for war and for corporatism and all shit. So we're going to have some sort of war. And I posted this on the story. It was of two Muslim people in the Middle East.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a cartoon, and it was a drone bombing and blowing up all of them. They're like, wow. They're like, I hear the next ones are going to be sent like women. It's like, can't you feel like we're part of the progress now? So as much as people want to say Trump is racist and he's this and he's that, he tried to get us out of those wars for the
Did you
most part.
guys
But
know-
you guarantee all this diverse crew that's coming is going to bomb the fuck out of the Middle East.
We talked about it. Trump and Eisenhower, the two only sitting presidents that ever mentioned about the
Military-industrial complex, yes.
Dwight Eisenhower, the guy who led the troops in World War II,
Yeah, that's insane.
said,
The
hey,
Supreme Allied
guys,
Commander.
there's something going on here where people are making money off of war.
And we need to be careful going forward because this, he said, like,
Oh, were we careful?
no, we weren't. We weren't.
Once
Isn't that
he was
crazy?
out of office, he was like, "Pay time."
Isn't it crazy to think that we've been around for 200 and something years and we've
Never had
been,
peace.
No, but we've always been in a major conflict of some sort.
Oh, Lord.
Because
Think
they
about it.
create it. Listen, there's always needs to be a boogeyman
Yes.
to get away. And this is my new motto is COVID-19 is this generation's 9/11. Now I have my own preservations about what happened on 9/11 because jet fuel doesn't burn hot enough to melt steel.
Yeah.
So there's a huge issue there.
Yeah.
But forget it if you think it's an inside job or not. But 9/11 was the big thing that turned everything around. That gave us the new boogeyman for the NSA to come in and do whatever they want.
Yeah.
And now COVID-19, 20 years later, here we are.
Yeah.
This is the new boogeyman. Let us come in and change everything.
You know what's funny, dude? Even as a kid, I put 2 and 2 together, right? Because 2 plus 2 equals 4.
Not necessarily. There is that not necessarily anymore. There are people who are so out of touch now that that's some sort of racist wrong thing.
Oh yeah,
I swear to
yeah.
God. Have you
I
heard
think
of
I've
this?
seen this.
Wait,
Yeah.
what?
You
I-
could
I-
just
I
put
can't
anything on a test now, and
I
they're
can't
like, "Well, I can't be racist, so it's right."
I can't speak to it exactly, but
Wow.
apparently,
That
it's-
that means
I
the different.
can't.
yeah. I
Okay.
swear to God. But good. Sorry
Yeah,
put,
yeah.
put you off. But go ahead.
Those people can go fuck themselves. Jump off a fucking.
I'd have to actually research that to tell you exactly.
But even as a kid, right?
True.
It's what you were saying about 9/11 and stuff like that, and if jet fuel doesn't burn steel and stuff like that. I just find it funny. Look, I mean, 9/11 is not funny. I mean, we're all kids when we were growing up doing that, through all that stuff. But
Thank you.
the person we go after as our primary target, right, is the same primary target that the father had
Saddam Hussein.
in the 80s.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
and he came through and wanted to fulfill what his father started. So he's like the Kylo Ren of fucking Star
Sort of.
Wars.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah, yeah. And
Finish what
and
you started.
You like
those
that? You like that,
Remember
right?
all
You
the
like that?
weapons? You know, I wasn't even in politics back then, but I still remember them going, there's weapons of mass destruction. And after like a year, even I was like, I don't think there's any weapons because if our military couldn't find them, they're probably not there.
Yeah.
Like the military could figure out what we're doing in this room right now without even coming on this block.
Yeah.
I'm sure they could figure out a third world country if they're
Yeah.
hiding
The Patriots
nuclear
Act,
power.
man. It's like they can literally spy on you, and they denied
And
it for
there's
years.
the boogeyman. So now there's going to be some new Patriot Act once COVID's done. That's just going to give the governors power to just lock us down
What you
whenever
got?
they feel.
Oh, boy.
Remember when I came in here?
yeah.
Remember the text message I got?
Oh, that's right.
What?
This is pretty crazy. So we're
So
in
I
Connecticut
sat
right
down
now.
here,
These
yeah.
guys are all technically live in New York.
No. We're from New York. I literally sat down. I went to go on my phone, and this popped up on my phone. It said Connecticut Department of Public Health terms. Enabling exposure notifications is your choice. It must be enabled for the app to receive exposure notifications or to notify others that you have tested positive for COVID-19. You can disable this feature at any time. Your privacy is protected. Your phone shares anonymous tokens with other users. These tokens only collect data such as the date, time, signal strength, and duration of proximity and are not linked to your identity or location. Your GPS location data and personal identifiers are never collected or shared with other users. Your privacy is protected in the event another user you have recently been nearby tests positive for COVID-19 and reports that their diagnosis, you can be notified that you are at risk of exposure. If you test positive for COVID-19, you control if you want to submit a positive test result, which will then notify other users if they are at risk. Doctors and laboratories or laboratories is the shitter, right?
I'm just saying this is insane, yeah.
Are required to report positive COVID-19 test results to the Connecticut Department of Public Health. If you test positive, Connecticut Department of Public Health staff will contact you to provide guidance to help you and others safe. How the fuck did you know I was here?
Well, they obviously, you know, they have access to your location through your phone, and it just knew that you crossed the border from New York. We're right on the border. They knew you crossed the border. You were within you were probably here for like a half an hour by the time you got that. So, like, you know, it must have hit a cell tower, and it's like, that's it. There's some sort of automatic tracking system. You know, go ahead.
Being
go ahead.
watched
Well,
whenever.
Joe.
is this based off of because you got a COVID test done? So they
No.
have your information.
I've gotten this text before,
No.
but I've never read it. It just says accept
No.
or decline. I just
This
decline every
this is
time.
because he crossed the border into Connecticut,
Yeah.
and his phone is tracking him, and there's some sort of automation now. You guys might all get it at some point. This is the first I've ever seen of this happening, but there's some sort of automatic tracking of everybody going on, and now you're going to see that's going to become more common as you go into a different state or whatever or whatnot. They're going to know that you're there.
This
And
is crazy.
Yeah.
That's
Wild,
crazy.
bro.
listen, I understand, and I understand that there's a virus. It's dangerous. This is how it begins. You think this is going to go away, or we're not going to use this again for some other thing, or
No.
you know, who's to say
You know
that they
what's-
don't start using this for anything?
No, you know what's next? So Biden's probably going to become president. Mandatory vaccines. Oh, you don't want to get a vaccine? Okay, you have to show proof. You want to go to the Giants game? Show proof you've been vaccinated.
Let me-
you want to get
yeah.
a new job? Show proof you've been vaccinated. You
Let
wanna
me
eat
let me
at this
put let me push
restaurant?
back on you,
That's
Cap. Let me push back on you
wild.
quick. The government's not going to mandate we take anything, right? They're not. Joe Biden's not going to say you have to go take a vaccine or this or that.
This is
But
gonna make
Joe Biden is in cahoots and friends with every head of a corporation whatsoever.
Yeah.
The corporations are going to require, like you're saying,
You'll be
you wanna
locked
go to
out of the
Giants?
system.
You want to go to MetLife Stadium? You need to have a vaccination. You want to go on a flight with JetBlue? You got to have a vaccine. The government's going to say, no, we got nothing to do with it.
They're gonna
We-
make it
we didn't- we didn't-
really hard for you.
We didn't mandate anything.
Yep, you want to buy a new car?
Right. Yeah. Literally, you're going to be, like you said, you're going to be locked out from
And
society.
then
if you
how
didn't
long
take it.
until? Oh, did you want to buy a house? Okay, show me you got vaccinated. Like I'm gonna quarantine here. Like
Right.
you know, like,
Yeah.
How
And-
the
and look-
like I said, how are we sitting back and letting
Let
this
this shit
happen?
rock.
Yeah.
Because
Society
you're-
has
you're,
changed.
You're like weirded
Society
out
has
by
changed.
it, but I sat down and literally got that fucking
You know-
notification,
you know-
and I'm like, how?
people always
What
joke
the
with me.
fuck, dude?
People always joke with me, and some of the crazier right wing guys I know, like, civil war. I don't like the last time they've imposed this much restriction on us. The civil war took place.
Yeah.
you know, I don't know. I don't want it to come down to that, but it's gonna be a shit show.
I would rather have fucking English redcoats sleep in my fucking house, in my bed, than to be getting tracked and
Here's
where
the
I'm
thing
going,
also.
you know?
Like I've said, people like us, we're all friends. We talk about this shit all the time.
Yeah.
We're woke to this stuff, right? I know so many people that are all for this.
Mm-hmm.
Really?
I know a couple
Yeah.
guys. They're my friends. I love them, but they have, when we've had these conversations or gone back and forth on Facebook, they could be Biden programmed robots. The way they speak or in regards to coronavirus is literally like they were coached by the Biden campaign or whoever, Cuomo's campaign, and they've recited every word that the governor says.
At the end of their message, it says, "This is a paid
Paid-
tweet by
right.
the Joe Biden campaign."
You know what I mean? I don't say that the virus is not dangerous and it doesn't exist. It does, right? And it is. But they're going to use this as they used 9/11 to Homeland Security and the Patriot Act and the NSA, like I said before. They're going to use because they love that shit. They could control the outcomes
Do you know-
of things more when they have something like this. This is an excuse. This is the new boogeyman, right?
Yeah. Do you
this
know
literally
how powerful it is? Do you know how powerful their fear is right now for Americans? And I hope it's really just a small sector of Americans to actually be canceling Thanksgiving. Think of this. If they could take away Thanksgiving from you, you don't think they're going to make a move on Christmas? And how long until, they just, next year when the third or the fourth wave hits? You know what I mean? When they're just no Thanksgiving at all.
St. Patrick's Day,
Yeah.
we're not getting that
we
again.
ain't
I don't
getting
think.
that.
And I was already devastated last year because I was at the beginning. I can't see that happening.
Nope.
No.
That was the beginning of the decline for
Yeah.
me, to be honest.
I listened.
When
was
the
the
St.
second
Patty's
year
was
of COVID.
canceled.
Yep.
I was like, you know what? I don't want to go out no more. Then
Yeah.
that's bullshit. You know,
Dude, I listened to the JRE. He had on this guy, Nicholas Christakis. I don't know if you listen to that. He's like a COVID expert.
Yeah.
And this guy, he's a literal COVID expert. He's saying, this shit is going to last until 2024, until we could literally get back to normal, if normal even is normal anymore. Because not only will there be rules and regulations and this and that, but, people's psyche
Yeah.
will
They're
be
already
changed.
broken.
People's psyche is already broken, right?
I remember years after 9/11 seeing commercials about here's treatment centers for people who suffer. And don't get me wrong, plenty of people suffered. I'm sure your wife didn't come home fit, devastating shit, whether it was an inside job or not. But I can promise you, in 5, 6, 7 years, there's going to be AA meetings for people who are still worried about COVID coming back and
Yeah.
shit. It's going to shape
will.
the future.
I suggest you guys all listen to that episode if you haven't.
Yeah.
It's really interesting, and this is a real virus in my opinion, right? And the
I don't
only
think anybody's ever denied that it's actually something.
I'm starting to think
serious.
it's more of a bioweapon than anything.
I mean, yes, but that still means it's a
Yeah.
real virus.
Yeah.
And this
Yeah.
guy is literally saying, in order for us to get back to a point where we reach herd immunity or the virus dies off, 50% of the population, this is historically true with any virus, has to either be infected or vaccinated, right? And then the virus has nowhere left to go. So either we're going to get there by everybody getting COVID, half of everybody getting COVID, or a combination of people getting it and people getting vaccinated, right? The reason why it's going to take until 2024 is the logistics behind getting the vaccine out. Apparently, the two vaccines that are created by Moderna and Pfizer, I forget which one. Both of them, however, one of them has to be stored at -80 degrees Fahrenheit, right? That's how it has to be frozen. It can't be defrosted ever from when it's created. It has to be created, frozen, transported to where it needs to go, administered.
Oh,
The
so
other
it's
one,
a solid piece of object they're administering into you.
it's a vaccine. It's a vaccine.
Yeah, but if
hear
it's
me out.
frozen,
The other
it's-
one, I believe, is -40.
It's
So-
Austin Powers mojo.
Yeah.
So listen. Logistically, it's going to be a nightmare, right? Because this guy was saying how in the cities you're going to have freezers that have the capability of going to -80. In New York City, there's plenty of freezers, plenty of infrastructure. In Omaha, Nebraska, or in the middle of nowhere, they don't have any freezers like that yet at the moment. So we could vaccinate some of the population, but the population that's rural has no access to the technology to store the vaccine.
The red states.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you know what I mean. You know what I'm saying? There's not gonna, they won't be able to. They're gonna have to think of they're gonna have to change the infrastructure. They're gonna have to put those freezers out there or put them on trucks that could maintain -80 for enough time for people to come get it without it shutting down and defrosting because then it goes bad.
Yeah.
We also have to make hundreds of millions of them in order to give it to people.
But my thing is that we don't do this much for the flu,
Yeah. And
right? And the Spanish
hun-
flu itself, it's
plenty of
still
people
there.
die.
There's no.
And
there's
also,
no
I
cure
want
for
you to
this
understand
stuff.
something. Since this has come, it's likely that the vaccine will come out under the Trump administration. I already heard Fauci say this, and I already saw CNN run an article that the vaccine won't solve anything. Okay? So we are going to get vaccinated, but because we're getting vaccinated doesn't mean we're going back to normal.
I've seen stuff like that too, where they're saying even if you have the vaccine, well, first of all, the vaccine is apparently only 90% effective, right? Leaving 10% that you could still. So it's not like you're wearing a bulletproof jacket, and even a bulletproof jacket is can fail. So
The other thing though that I haven't found anywhere. What are the side effects? Does anybody know
That
what the
needs to
side
be-
effects
that
are
needs-
yet? So if you know it's 90% successful, then you know 90% of the fucking side effects. Is diarrhea one of them, or do you start throwing up blood?
So what I know is that the people who are actually getting vaccinated right now are the people who work for like Pfizer and the other company, like the top executives and all these people are actually volunteering themselves taking the vaccine. But it's a long-term thing, right? So
Yes.
that means what the fuck is going to happen in 5 years? Like what? Like we have to study.
This
it's way
is
too
the
new
start of
Right.
The Walking
Here-
Dead.
here's the thing. You have a valid concern. You have a valid point, right?
Cap just wants the compound. He just wants
No, I know.
the compound.
Hey, I'm all for it.
Anything-
Life will be a lot
Yeah,
simpler.
my own Alexandria, bro. Anything.
Like you're saying, a vaccine. This is a new vaccine, right? So yes, I agree. Is it safe? We don't know yet, but we're only going to know once we've been using it for a while. Apparently, the two vaccines will make you feel a little ill the first few days, and then you go back to normal, like almost every
I
other
would like to
vaccine does.
define a little
Like
ill,
like
but
almost every other vaccine does.
you go blind for 48 hours. and-
But this vaccine has only been created for a few months now, so we don't have any long-term study yet because it hasn't happened. We'll know eventually, but we're not going to know.
Yeah.
So
When the Ninja
take the,
Turtles
I'm just
are
saying, take the conspiracy theory
Yeah.
mindset out of it. We're not going to know for a while because you don't know. You don't just magically know something. You only know by test, trial, error, and then no. We'll know
research, yeah.
10 years from now. We'll know exactly what's wrong. But 10 years from now, they'll have refined it. Hopefully, that there's nothing. That's why some people say I'm not going to get it right away.
Yeah.
And like I've said, I don't get the first Xbox. I said that to you before.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't get the first version of the Xbox One series, whatever the fuck it is, right? Because the first ones always have something wrong with it.
bugs
They got to
and
put
shit.
it out. People tell you what's wrong with it. They go back, they make a revision, they make it better. You want to buy an Xbox right now? Go buy the Xbox One, right? Because it's perfected 100%.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
it's as best. It's as good as
Right.
it's going to get right now.
Right, and that's just the way I feel about anything, not just a
Yeah.
vaccine. When it comes to something you're going to put in your body that might kill you, you're going to
Yeah,
be a little bit
but-
more skeptical
but
as opposed to
then
an Xbox.
On
Yeah,
the
yeah.
flip side, now they lock you out of the system.
Right.
You never go.
Right. That is
now you don't even
suspicious.
get a chance. Now everyone has to take round one.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like
That is suspicious, and that leads me back to just like in reality, we should just allow people, adults, to make their own decisions and use
Dave
common
Portnoy.
sense, right? You shouldn't be forcing people to take a vaccine to get on an airplane. If I think I can get sick and die because I'm high risk, I shouldn't go on an airplane. I should fucking drive to Florida or something until this is over. But if I feel if I feel fine, I'm me and you, in our 30s, we've had it, we're good, we'll be all right. We
I've
can make
always-
that decision.
I've always said the best solution that I think is with restaurants, right? If a restaurant owner wants to keep their restaurant open, you have a waiver. You give it to your employees.
yeah.
You give it to your patrons. And you say, I am acknowledging that if I do get sick, I am responsible for the decision of me being out eating, and the employees, I am here responsible coming to work.
Yeah.
Right? So and it's crazy that it has to get to that point, because it should get to that point.
But
Because
that's at
everybody
least
should have their own
reasonable.
independent,
Yeah.
decision. They can make their own decisions themselves. But that's the best way to do it,
Yeah.
because you can't keep this happening. You can't keep shutting shit, because we're gonna have no economy, dude.
Let's talk about Emperor Como. That's what we got here together for. You
Yeah.
can't eat inside, but you could eat in an indoor-outdoor tent.
Well, you can still eat inside for now.
Yeah, but
25% for
right, but there's
for
also
a while it was
people.
25%, and
there's-
in the city it was
yeah.
like, oh, nobody.
There's
can eat.
also these outside tents that are indoors, and
Yeah.
it's just
It's
somehow
it's
better.
contradictory. The
Please.
tents.
Oh,
yeah.
the outside's inside, and the inside's outside.
Yeah, like what? What are these?
The logic makes no sense. If you're in one of those wedding tents that
Yeah.
are outside, you're inside.
Yeah.
So what? Why can't then we just eat inside and use
50,
UV air
75%
purifiers?
capacity. Yeah.
Right, and whatnot, you know.
Yeah.
And let me point out what just happened in Los Angeles. Also, I believe it's coming the next day or so. They banned all dining. Right, so it used to be you could eat outside, and now I believe yesterday or the day before they've banned outdoor dining as well. They did it with no warning. Right, they did it right before Thanksgiving. A lot of the restaurants and whatnot in LA, they spent mad money like preparing for outdoor dining, and you know, especially with Thanksgiving, right? Some people, not all people, go to their family. Some people go out to
Especially
restaurants.
LA.
Or some people, yeah, especially LA, bougie as fuck, right? People go to restaurants with their whole crew
Yep.
and whatnot. Now these restaurants spent mad money to prepare for that situation. Then right before, goodbye. You can't do that. They still do takeout, but they're not going to be able to recover from that. They just invested money in you telling them this is how they have to do it.
But not
and
only
then right
that-
before the thing they invested the money for, you shut them out.
But not only that, Governor Newsom had a 12-person
Yes.
party. with
Let's
no
hit
mask
him.
on.
Let's
It's
hit
that
him.
piece of shit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like Tucker Carlson said, that is the photo.
Do
that
what I
photo-
say and not what I do.
There was a photo which Tucker Carlson, I can never say his name right, said
Yeah.
this is going to be the photo of our age.
Yeah.
And it's of Gavin Newsom and his 50-something birthday party, right? Birthday party. And he's there with, I think, 13 people.
Yeah.
Was it, right?
Inside.
13 people. He's inside. They're not wearing masks. They're like sitting right next to each other. He's violating every rule that he created.
Yep.
His rule in California is that you have to eat with your mask on and you only take
Yep.
it down, you know, to stick the food in your mouth.
How
As soon as in
ridiculous.
between bites, you have to lift.
Yep.
He doesn't have it on, right?
Excuse
His-
me, guys. I'm gonna have another slice of pizza.
Right. And then his defense was, you know, he said he was sorry and he made a mistake. And his defense was, well, you know, when I got there, I thought I should turn around and leave. I didn't realize how many people were
But
going
you
to be there.
didn't.
But he did
You
it.
mean to tell me that the governor of California doesn't know exactly who is attending his 50th birthday party? 13 people. He doesn't know. He has no idea. The governor is briefed on everything. You mean to tell me he knew exactly who was going to be there? But like we said before, there's
They
one
had to
set
go
of
through
rules
a
for the
s-
king,
they had
one
to-
set of rules for everybody else.
They had to be okayed by his security team. He knew
Exactly.
exactly how many
Exactly.
people were going to
And
be
then my
there.
favorite part about that whole story, so I'm spitting on you over here.
No,
My
no,
favorite part,
Spreading COVID.
Yeah, there we go. Droplet transmission. I got some Lysol over there if you want it.
Oh, cool.
My favorite part about this whole story is like his campaign manager or something, like his chief of staff was like, no, we weren't inside, we were outside.
What?
You shouldn't
What
be.
do you mean?
He said they were outside when they were inside.
Yeah.
No.
That's-
There's a
listen.
picture of you guys inside. He goes, no, that was outside.
what?
The governor just said that he was wrong and that they were inside. No, we were actually outside. He's like,
Yeah.
he's fighting against the reality. Even the governor said, no, we were inside and we were wrong. This guy is still fighting the
If
good
I-
fight,
if-
saying they were outside.
If I was the reporter, I was like, "Do you live in the Twilight
Yeah.
Zone?" Or
Dude, I was watching something like a political movie or a show, whatever, and something came out, and they were like, "Listen, you have choice A, you deny it, but if it goes down, we all fucking go
Yeah.
down. Choice B, you own up to it and you apologize, and we go on this big sob story tour, and everybody still loves you." And the guy was like, "Deny it." And now, like that, I see like stories like this. Just everyone in politics right now is just deny it. Deny it. Like they can get away with like
They have a staff that literally gives them like, here's the probability scenario of each decision, you know, how we're going to handle this. Instead of just being like, you know what, I made a mistake. I fucked
but
up.
if you
like, I
it's
mean
the
it
same thing
legitimately.
with the Nancy Pelosi
yeah,
thing.
I know.
Oh, yeah,
You're
with the hairstyle.
on
And-
the
and the-
screen, and you're like,
On
I was
camera.
set up.
Yeah,
I was set up.
Mayor Fred Flintstone from Chicago, whatever the hell her name is, Littlefoot.
Littlefoot.
Yeah,
Lori
Lightfoot.
Lightfoot.
Yeah, I can't. I mean, fucking out there throwing a Biden party. You know, like yeah,
Oh.
She
dude,
also went to get
I can
her-
imagine
and then
that
she
they
went to-
voted her, and they were like, Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice.
she's fucking Uncle Fester's wife, bro.
Oh, you're racist, bro. You
Yeah.
can't,
I don't give a shit.
fucking
Fuck
racist,
her.
fuck. You can't
Oh
criticize
my
anyone.
God.
You're racist.
How
That-
can anybody take that woman
Yeah.
seriously? Like that haircut doesn't look good on Bernie Sanders. Why? Like
That was one of the slides that I posted when I
Yeah.
went on that rant of everybody, and it was you weren't allowed to go to the barber or the hairstylist, and she went and got a haircut, and her defense was, well, I'm in public service, I need to maintain my appearance because I'm the mayor. And I posted, I'm like, honey, ain't nothing you could do to make yourself look better. Number one. Number two, come on, you can't fucking do that. You cannot
This is the thing with
and
these
a strong
politicians.
leader.
It shouldn't be
And-
do what I say because this is exactly what happened back in
and
1776.
a strong
It's
leader.
the same fucking thing.
If you were a true strong leader, you would be down in the dirt with your people, fucking not getting haircuts and not looking as pretty
You'd
as
look-
you do.
Yeah, like Bernie Sanders. His fucking hair's all fucked up. You know what I mean? Like
the politician I felt bad for throughout this whole thing is when the whole thing that happened with George Floyd and the mayor, I think it was the mayor of Minneapolis, went to one of the rallies or one of the riots or protests, whatever,
Yeah.
and he sat there and they were like, "We want to completely get rid of the fucking police department." And he's like, "We're gonna have to talk about that." And they booed that man off the fucking block, and they were like, "Fuck you, this and that." He came there
Yeah, to show support.
to show support, being like, yeah, this is wrong. He was being a good human being.
Right.
And this is what we do to people. And that's why politicians play that whole fucking
Yeah.
balancing
Pander.
beam.
Well, they
act,
pander,
where they,
because-
I saw a video recently. The mayor or Governor Murphy from New Jersey. What is he? The governor?
Yes.
Oh, governor. Yeah.
Yeah, real quick, let me make the point that while we're going to criticize Cuomo, this criticism applies to Murphy and Lamont of
Yeah.
Connecticut, because the three of them,
Yeah,
first of all,
are in
Cuomo's the
straight
king.
cahoots.
They're
Yeah.
in cahoots. So everything we say here criticizing Cuomo applies to Murphy
I'm
and
actually-
Lamont. I
yeah.
just want to make that clear.
Yeah,
Go
I'm
ahead.
actually not criticizing Murphy right now, but there was a video I saw where it's like, okay, he's eating outside and it's daytime. It's not after 10 o'clock. He's not breaking any of his COVID rules. He's actually listening to him. But these people just stormed him eating outside, and they're like, "Listen to your own rules." And like he looks up at the camera, and somebody's like, "Dickhead!" Right in his just right in his face. And like they just berated the shit out of him. But he wasn't breaking any of his own rules. Like they just wanted to like jump on.
They were bringing up the eating with your mask on thing, but is that a rule in New Jersey? You guys-
I don't know. I don't
Right, I don't think
so.
so. That's a California rule.
Yeah.
So those people were those people were being a little bit unfair.
Maybe you could look this. Yes, they were. Maybe you look this up. I think in Pennsylvania you have to wear a mask in your house like at all times.
What?
now.
Yes, I believe that's a new
and,
rule.
And
That's
I
a new
believe,
rule?
In
Yeah.
Pennsylvania.
And I believe on Thanksgiving they banned the wholesale of alcohol for like 24
What
hours.
are we doing? First, what are we doing with the Thanksgiving thing? You're telling people who pay their fucking mortgage,
Taxes, yeah.
their
Taxes.
taxes, to tell them what to do in their own fucking home.
Oh, wouldn't
Where's
that be the dream?
The fucking freedom.
Wouldn't that
when
be the
do
dream?
we relieve our fucking rights to these fucking people that? And it's on all spectrums, man. And it's just crazy, dude.
And there's people sitting in their homes, smiling ear to ear, wearing a mask, thinking they're doing something. Trump even said it. After he got COVID, CNN accused him of working in the Oval Office by himself without a mask on. And he just went, of course.
So,
Like-
so no, in New Jersey, you do not have to wear a face mask when it
That might
says
just
you
be
have to. It
California.
says you have. No, this is New Jersey. I googled New Jersey. It says you have to wear it at all times except when it's impractical, like when eating or drinking or receiving a service that cannot be completed while wearing a mask. So that was unfair what they did to Murphy
Yes.
because that's not his rule. That's
and he
Gavin
wasn't
Newsom's
out
rule.
after 10 o'clock
Right.
either. Like,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So there you go. There's your answer.
Amazing.
So it's just dumb people thinking that they know.
Yeah.
Yeah, or
I
just-
think they just
it's
saw
just-
their governor and wanted to attack
people
him.
people are frustrated, right wing, probably Trump
Yep.
people. They want to hit somebody that's a Democrat, or liberal.
Yeah.
But I can promise you, after Thanksgiving, we are going to see so many photos leaked of these politicians with
And we'll be
the,
posting.
the table of 50
and I
people.
think that
yeah.
would ignite the
John
fire. To
S.
be honest with you,
Nah.
I think I honestly think that. Oh, dude, there's a lot of people that
You know what's gonna
they're
ignite the
follow
fire?
the rules, and all of a sudden you're gonna have these fucking schmucks out and fucking in
Hopefully.
the
I
mansion.
hope you're right.
Fucking with their fucking, hey,
Their
I'm a
ascots.
fucking, I ain't
Yeah.
Fredo. Like, yeah, go fuck yourself, all right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're an asshole. You're a dickhead.
I hope so. I hope that will motivate people to take
Something
a
has
critical
to.
look
Yeah.
at Cuomo. I can't stand the people who just listen to Cuomo. Cuomo's a terrible
But
governor.
isn't it weird that like nobody could find anybody who votes for this guy?
People do no, dude. All the people who don't criticize him or don't look at him with like a critical thinking lens are the people who vote for him. How many people? I know a lot of people who love Cuomo. You were saying, was it your mom
But
loves
yeah,
Cuomo,
she just
right?
listens to
Yeah.
all his.
How many
briefings and
moms
believes
out
him.
there? I love him to death, but how many moms out there love Cuomo? Oh, he's so nice, and he handled the situation so
He
well.
won a fucking Emmy. Who you know who the real enemy of America is? The motherfucker who gives
doesn't
him that
even-
Emmy.
You know what? I try not to let that annoy me because that means absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
He literally won an Emmy.
Yeah.
He won an Emmy actually for his press conferences during the virus.
While 40,000 fucking
Wow.
people.
That's how Hollywood operates, bro. They give themselves awards, and then they talk down to the normal people. Like, they know better. What you got there?
That's crazy.
International Emmy Founders Award for his more than 100 televised briefings at the height of the pandemic.
The elite, the
Yeah.
bourgeoisie, they give
then-
themselves
and-
trophies while we suffer here.
you want to
how it
read
is.
your notes?
Yeah, I'll read
Good.
it. I'll be happy to.
Yeah.
So it says the International Emmy Founders Award for his more than 100 televised briefings at the height of the pandemic, an award that also sparked eye rolls among his critics. And I put on the side, highest death rate, sent elderly back to nursing homes, still given an award.
Yep.
Who gave the award?
Yeah.
Hollywood,
And
you
he
know,
got a book
Hollywood, I
deal.
don't know.
And he got a book deal out of it. We are watching Como being paid off right now for killing all those people in the nursing
He owes us
homes.
$5 billion. $5 million.
Look, have we spoken
That's
about
where he's
Cuomo
getting
and
$5
the
mil.
and the marijuana thing on the podcast yet? We
Which
might have.
what?
Wow, what'd he
Cuomo
say?
and legalizing marijuana.
Oh, no, we didn't
I
bring
posted
that up
about
yet.
it.
Wait,
Yeah.
what'd he say?
Let me bring this up
Yo.
because this really chapped my ass. Cuomo recently was being interviewed by some TV station or something, and they were talking about legalizing marijuana in New York State. It's not
'Cause
legal yet.
New Jersey just
Yeah.
passed it.
Yep.
And he brought up, he was very candid, right? He was put it all out there exactly how he feels. He says it's time, I think, to legalize the marijuana because of what's happened this year. We're going to need the tax revenue. He goes, however, it's all about the money and the power. Who's going to get the licenses, and who's going to control the industry essentially. And he's like, if we do it, I want also the tax revenue to go into a fund which I alone have control over. So I give him credit because he was being honest. He's literally telling you, I want to legalize marijuana, but it's going to depend on who am I going to give the license to, right? What does that mean?
Who's
Someone's
gonna
going to have
him
to
the
give him
most
money.
return?
Someone's going to have to give money under the
Kickback.
table or
Kickback.
political contribution. Then
No, a
he'll-
percentage of of their corporation.
or,
yeah.
or they're literally going to have to, if I'm a marijuana company, I'm going to contribute $1 million to Cuomo's reelection efforts next year.
When-
I'm
when-
going to choose that one.
When is he? He's running next year.
I don't know. I'm just saying. Think of it that
No,
way.
when
Or-
is he's done? He's done soon.
I
though,
think
no?
so.
Hopefully.
2021.
2 years, yeah.
And then on top of that, he wants to control the revenue, the tax revenue from all marijuana
private
sales in a
account.
fund that he alone has discretion over how to use the fund. So he can then turn around and use it on a pet project of his, right? Of whatever. And then on that pet project, it could be corporations that he's also working with on the side. I
It
give him credit
sounds
because he's
like-
telling you he's corrupt and no one notices it. No one.
It sounds like he's breaking another rule because he's got to be smoking some fire shit to come up with that plan and admit it.
Hey, he probably is because it's illegal in New York. And, they do whatever they want. So.
They're above the law.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, dude. It's
Yeah.
ridiculous. That alone should prove to you he's corrupt. Because if he's going to do it with that, he's done it with a million other fucking things.
And how much is the tax on marijuana in Massachusetts?
A lot.
It's high,
It's
right?
a lot. Yeah.
Just think of what it's. Could you imagine?
Oh, my
Jersey
God.
should be ridiculous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But could you imagine though the first dispensary to open up near or in Times Square in 8th is going to be like
Yeah.
$500.
Listen, and you know what? That's
Yeah.
fine.
you might as well go buy jewelry on 7th Avenue.
I'm all
right?
for that.
Yeah.
I'm all for that. If that's what it's going to take to legalize it, fine. But the money should be used wisely. It shouldn't be used for some pet project. But you know what? It should be legalized. There's a million, good things about legalizing it. So I don't care if the taxes are high. I'd rather drive to Massachusetts like we have done and pay the high tax to go get the weed legally than buy it for some weed dealer here because just because that's the way it should be done.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be illegal.
Well, I'm not trying to put my Connect out of business, so.
That's fair. That's fine. Fair enough. They'll still always be in business, I'm sure.
They will. 'Cause-
I'm going to put the narcos out of business.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
You got to think though, like the regular dealer, like who does have like a solid clientele and does have like a steady supply chain, they're not gonna like go under because there's still gonna be 50%, 70% of their clientele that's gonna be like, I ain't paying these prices when you get me the same shit for like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Dude, I fucking have chickens and they lay eggs, and people have come to me trying to buy the eggs in this neighborhood. It's the same shit. You could go to the fucking store and buy eggs yourself, but people, No, people might want to buy shit from like a local dealer that maybe grows it
Yeah.
himself. It's organic.
I got my farm
You know
raised
what
weed from
right.
a local dealer.
Exactly. You know what I'm trying to say? It doesn't matter what the product is. People still are going to do that, but that's fine.
The Crosby Farmers Market.
Yeah.
I've been on like this whole West Wing kick and
You
stuff like
told
that.
me, yeah, I got started.
And I just can't stop watching it, and it's a really good show. And this show came out years ago in like 2000s, and there was an episode that literally said the war on drugs has not been working
That's a failure.
since it came up.
Drugs have been winning that war since day one.
And that's what they said. The drugs, this is literally years ago, 15 years ago. Drugs is going to win.
Do you know?
It's just going to win.
Well,
It's
drugs are
just
not
nothing-
going to win. It's the people selling the drugs,
you
the
know-
narcos, those.
Listen, you want to
which
hear
is
about the
basically
drugs winning?
But it's
After El Chapo went down, the Mexican government apprehended El Chapo's son.
Yes.
I love
Every
this story.
Sicario
I love
and
this
every
story.
gang from the cartel
Answered the call.
answered the call and
They-
raided the jail.
Yep.
The military
Bro,
showed up.
they-
They lost. They surrendered the son
Dude,
back.
the narcos
No.
defeated the Mexican army
The
in
army.
battle.
Yep.
They
yes, literally.
defeated the army
Yeah.
to the point the
They gave
Mexican
'em up.
soldiers walked to the narcos, the guys with 50 cals on the
Yeah.
fucking back of the flatbed of a truck,
Yeah.
and shook hands.
Yeah.
They just fucking killed each other.
Right.
They took down a fucking
Yeah.
army.
That's how much
army.
money those cartels
Yeah,
have.
and apparently
on,
I've
man.
heard since then, like the cartels have been like arming up tenfold.
yeah.
Like they'll
Yeah.
never
Yeah.
lose another.
I saw
battle.
today a diagram of a submarine that they captured recently,
Yeah.
and this is like the first one they've ever seen, like a fully submersible electric submarine. Like, you know, like how we have like the ones that go like to the bottom of the sea and
Yeah,
launch
yeah.
nukes. They got shit like that now. They only before had submarines, but they still were around the
Like half
surface.
the top.
Remember
Yeah,
the
yeah,
video
yeah,
of the
yeah,
Coast
yeah,
Guard
yeah.
banging on the top?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
that's
yeah.
now they have electric, fully submersible submarines that they're electric, so they make almost no sound. So like even sonar and shit has a hard time detecting them. That's how much money they have now, and they could, I think, what I read is they can transport like 6 tons of cocaine per trip. 6 tons. That's like. It was saying that's like $120 or more $1 million worth of cocaine per trip.
and they
The
probably do
sub-
2 an hour.
The sub costs like $20 million. They could pay for the sub in like
Yeah.
one trip.
In one trip, they could
Yeah.
have a fleet of subs.
Who
Yep.
knows? They probably have a whole
Yeah.
fleet of subs.
That's
Dude,
insane.
well, remember when?
We're gonna need the
remember
military
when?
to go after that.
Remember when Pablo Escobar found out it was more cost effective to just leave the airplanes in the fucking Bahamas?
Yeah, they were just
than
crashing
just
them.
crash them and
And get 'em
fucking
back, yeah.
and just go buy another one.
The guy burnt $2 million in cash because his daughter was cold. Listen, these guys are smart. They're not dumb. They're not dumb. People will always find a way.
Yeah.
Prohibition has taught us that when you stop, you
Right.
tell people
Dude.
no, they're gonna find their way around it.
Speakeasies are coming back. Mark my words.
Hey,
We
let's
start
open up a
closing-
speakeasy,
Oh,
bro.
yeah.
Dude, we were saying that.
I don't think we should do that on live camera, but yeah, wink, wink.
Never
No,
mind.
we'll never do it.
Yeah, we're upstanding citizens.
Yeah.
We would never break the rules like that.
All right.
I mean, I'm not upstanding. I'll open up a speakeasy. You can come visit me.
Oh man.
You guys got anything else you want to scream
No,
about
I mean,
something
no,
else,
no,
boys?
I mean, yeah, just hate Cuomo, and I just
Yeah.
don't want to ever.
I don't know if you guys heard about the rumor December 1st.
What's
ahead.
that?
Oh, that
Lay it
is-
on
A
us.
full shutdown for New York City.
No, I've been hearing rumors in my gym that like within like a week or two, like they're going to be closing the gym.
Meaning what? Full shutdown like we had back in
In the city.
March.
Back in
NYC.
March.
Sorry, boys, but it's your fucking problem now.
Yeah.
I'm up here.
Yeah, who do you think's going to follow right after that?
That don't matter to me. I'm over here on my
Yeah.
compound, so I'll
Yeah.
be all right. I could walk around if need be.
You and your chickens.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, what can I say, man? It's
No, I didn't hear
businesses. There's going to be a huge economic downturn for years
Oh, yeah.
if this
Oh, yeah.
continues.
Oh, yeah.
And if Biden does it,
Biden's
on a
never going to be
national-
able to recover this.
Aren't they calling this like the reset or something like that? It
Yes,
always happens.
a lot of.
Oh, that's big on the conspiracy pages.
I was yeah. Some people are calling it the reset. What are you going to say? Like
Yeah, it was like something I saw like in the conspiracy side.
We're going to have
or
one
whatever.
world government,
okay.
one world money.
yes,
Yeah.
like Justin Trudeau, the Prime Minister of Canada, was like, "This is an opportunity for the Great Reset, like to restructure society the way we want."
Yep. Full blown New World
Yeah.
Order takeover.
Yep.
NWO.
And like I said this earlier, in other countries, they're more accepting of that type of shit.
Yeah.
Like in Europe and Canada, not here. That's
No,
something
we're
that,
not accepting of it. Joe
that's,
Biden is.
That's something. That's something definitely Europeans and Canadians don't understand about us is that we have like a culture of freedom here, and then like some Americans don't understand it. Like they don't get gun culture. They don't get the culture of like you can't tell me what to do.
Yeah.
That's our culture.
Yeah.
People say Americans have no culture. No, we do. We do. It's freedom, hamburgers, football. That is our culture. As dumb
Telling
as
you to fuck off from the back of my truck.
Right. That's our culture. And
Diabetes.
some people look.
What killed the Americans? Diabetes.
Diabetes. Listen, that's freedom. If you want to die
Yeah.
from diabetes.
Nothing. You know, you ever seen that
Well,
picture
that was-
of the
that
guy?
was-
He's in the this is the greatest like little cartoon thing, but he's in like one of those things that you get in Walmart, and he has a
Oh.
big gulp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's
America.
got a gun,
Yeah.
and he's got a fucking bald eagle behind him with a
Yeah.
fucking American flag
Yeah.
with an oxygen tank, and
Yeah.
you can't breathe. That's America,
Yeah.
baby.
Yeah.
Dude,
That's
Ron,
a lot
Ron
of-
Swanson, man, he's like
Yeah.
every
Yep.
American should like. He was a libertarian, but he was like every American has the right if they want to go in and eat a 32-ounce hamburger with a half a pound of bacon on it and drink a 62-ounce soda. You have the freedom to do so. Like, if you become 500 pounds and can't walk out of your house, that's your fault. But
Yep.
you were free up until then.
It's true.
Yeah, dude. A lot of the things me and you talk about are culture war, topics, right? And we don't plan it that way.
Yeah.
It's just because me and you have like this idea of freedom and like things that are trying to infringe upon that we fucking hate.
Yeah.
Which is like a lot of what's going on nowadays in society.
I mean, that's how I always, try to calm people down when they find out, like, I'm Republican or, like, I'm a Trump guy or anything like that. Because amazingly, like, in my personal life, a lot of people, outside of my friends don't know that. And I tell them, like, yes, look, I like Trump, but, like, I'm pro-choice. Like, I'm pro-gay. Like, the fact that, like, two men in, like, Alabama want to get married to each other weighs no difference on what time I wake up and go to work tomorrow. Like, please get married. You pay taxes. Do whatever you want. But then when, you start talking about these laws that are going to take away the Second Amendment and they're going to change things for everyone, or like you're going to do
Now
A,
you're on
B,
their
and C.
side. Yeah.
You're going to do A, B, and C, and you're going to raise my taxes. Fuck no, I don't want that.
And now you're picking a side, basically.
You're on the side
essentially.
of
And,
all around liberty, whether
Yeah.
it be for
Yeah.
guns or for people getting married to a
Yeah.
man or a woman, or if people want to be
Like
transgender,
little-
go
yeah,
ahead.
Like the little things. Look, if every gay person that got I'm sorry to put it this way, but if every gay couple that got married, my taxes went up, maybe I'd have a fucking problem with gay marriage. But it doesn't, so I don't care. Please get married by all means. But when you make 100 different rules, and now I can't open up a business, no matter how much I save, that pisses me the fuck off.
yeah.
You know?
Well, Joe Rogan even said it too. He goes, "Why can't I be pro-gun, and why can't I say, hey, listen, let's get rid of the student loans.
Yeah.
Let's abolish them. Let's pay them off. Why can't why is it that I have to pick a fucking side
Right.
and go gun ho on
'Cause-
every single little thing?"
Because I've always wanted to do an episode on identity politics. It is one of the most strongest forces in the world. I've been saying it for the past 4 years. Politics is hip now. Politics is the in thing to talk about, and it's the blue shirts versus the red shirts. We see it with certain people and the type of jobs they have. It's the team mentality, and identity politics has swept the nation since Donald Trump announced he was going to be, because he even said it to Dave Portnoy. He was like, I was in over 70 different rap songs, rappers aspiring to live my life, basically is what he was saying. And now all those people who made money off of my name in their song hate me for one reason. I ain't on their side.
Humans want to be part of a team so badly, or want to have like a sense of acceptance so badly that they're willing to change their own psychology or sell out some of the things they believe in to be part of a team. So,
Like
you know,
the people you fight with that are
Right.
just the paid sponsors of Biden.
basically, you could be a person who likes guns, but you lean super left. So you think, you know what? I want to like post things online, and I want people to be, they might not actually even have these thoughts. These are like subconscious thoughts that are happening. They're craving like acceptance and to be part of that team. So they'll sell out their own personal, ideas just to be part of a team, because that makes them feel happy. Because look, I'm part of a team, and that might be subconscious. That might be, maybe they don't have a lot of friends, and you know what I mean? Like, doesn't mean they're bad people. It's just that's the way it goes. It's like a psychological issue.
It's been going on since we were evolved. I mean, that
Yeah.
whole tribal, you have to.
It's always
going to
be there.
of
Yeah.
a community.
It's the primal part of us that,
That's it,
technology ain't going to be able to fix.
no.
Yep.
Yeah, technology's made it worse.
Yeah.
Social media and
Yeah.
whatnot has made it
Yep.
worse. Yeah. Anything else? It's a good time to wrap it up, I think.
I'm ready to wrap up.
All right.
Shout yourselves out,
Yes.
boys. Let's go.
You got it.
Well,
Go for it.
Let's hear it.
well,
All right. We're called the Last Slice Podcast. We're on Spotify, Apple Podcast, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, Google Podcast, and we're also on YouTube. And you can find us on Instagram at the Last Slice Podcast. Thank you guys for having us on, man. I appreciate it, man. It was
Yeah,
great.
definitely, man.
I mean, once you guys were like, "Hey, listen, we're gonna ram Cuomo," I was like, "I'm
Yeah.
here."
Yeah.
I'm taking off from work.
I was like, "We're doing."
You guys showed up before me, so
Cuomo.
that speaks volumes.
This whole morning, I'm like, I gotta do research. I was like a fucking madman, like Charlie from Always Sunny.
With the
I'm
board,
over here,
with the board behind.
Pepe Sylvia. I'm over here like Pepe Sylvia, you know.
Oh man, thank you guys for coming. Check them
you
out,
for
the
having
Last Slice Podcast. Skaggs, thank you for the new sexy podcast desk.
Yeah, it looks great, man.
Nothing else to do.
Yeah.
we got the new camera, we got the new setup, all for Doom Nation. Thank you guys for waiting a week. We forgot at the beginning, bottom right-hand corner on YouTube. Subscribe. You know what to do. As always, Doom Nation, thank you. You can find us on Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple iTunes, Apple Podcasts, and Amazon Music, whatever the fuck it is. And for social media, at 2 Doom Men for Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter. And on Instagram, we're at 2 Doom Men _podcast. Thank you, guys. We'll see you next week.
Thank you, guys. Happy Thanksgiving.
Later.
later.